There is a YouTuber that I used to watch when I first started watching YouTube, which is about 7 years ago. And he and I talked about this fragrance because he found it at, I believe he referred to it as a rummage sale, and we call it a garage sale in the States, but it could be just be an estate sale. So he's the only one that I know of on YouTube at this time who knows the joys of this fragrance, which I just picked up in a haul, called Anne Klein 2. This came out in 1985. It was a designer fragrance from the house of Anne Klein. She was a clothing designer. She died in 1974, so I'm assuming her line carried on, and she made matching separates for working women, which is nice. This doesn't reflect that at all. It is stunning. Stunning. I wouldn't say that about anything except this fragrance. And that's when I bring up this YouTuber. If I can find his link, if he's still on, then I'll put it down below. And so we discussed this. This is an Oriental Floral, 1985 it came out. The perfumer is a man named Yves Tanguy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you so much for making this. This is so awesome. And it's hard to find. This is a unicorn. This is a dinosaur. This is a relic. This is exciting to find. The top notes are bergamot, some green notes, peach, rosewood, lemon. The heart, or the middle, is jasmine, rose, and ylang ylang. The base is vanilla, amber, sandalwood, musk, patchouli, benzoin, and civet. This is it's a monstrous beauty. I was amazed that I could find it and buy it a couple of weeks ago. And some of the things I wrote down are, let's see, one of the things about this fragrance, everyone who's ever smelled it or experienced it back in the day or has stumbled upon it always says, I wish I could smell that again. And there are not too many fragrances that people yearn for, that they miss that much. I mean, it's like a lost loved one or a pet or something. And everyone always says, I would like to smell this again. It's rich, it's spicy, it's smooth. It's like the best whiskey you ever had, the best bourbon. I would say, and I wouldn't say this about any other fragrance that I'm aware of, I would call it mysterious. And I can't imagine too many fragrances being referred to that way. Like I said, it's like a relic, a fossil of some sort, and it's heartbreakingly beautiful. That's why people are longing for it. They say, I wish I could smell that again. Wow, it's just an amazing fragrance. It has multiple layers of beauty, and it is triumphantly sexual. Think of the 80s, the big powerhouse fragrances of the 80s, and this actually isn't so much like Obsession was, or, you know, the big Poison, you know, the big ones from the 80s, but it's a multi-layered gem. It should be in a shrine. I'm so pleased to have gotten a sample of this. It's very hard to find. So we're going to move on to the other stuff I got in this haul. I also got its sister fragrance, which was the original Anne Klein, which is entirely different. I will be doing a review of this separately. I absolutely love this one too, not in the same ways that I worship that one, obviously, but this is beautiful. This is a green, I think they're called Chypre, and little vintage bottle. And and they're all miniatures of the original bottles. This very sleek, sexual bottle of Anne Klein 2. Love it. And I've done reviews on, I'll link the review I did. Actually, it was my first fragrance love or something like that, and Jontue. So I got a vintage bottle of that. So it's a nice little vintage haul. And this cap unscrewed back in the day when it first came out. So you can, oh, it's so awesome. So you can go back and watch that review if I can link it down below. And I hope I can find the channel that I can link so you guys can watch him, because I had so much fun watching him. And he hasn't made a video in years, so I don't know. I think he's from the Netherlands, but I could be mistaken. So if any of you remember this guy and I don't find the name, can you please tell me what his name was? It might have had Prince in the title. And I learned so much about Chanel from him, about aldehydes, which when we're going to talk about Anne Klein, there's massive aldehydes in here. I love that. Anyway, I also got a bottle of this Jontue, and this is one of the original 70s packaging that it came in, which you don't see anymore. Although this particular fragrance is, it's still really nice, and it's still worth buying if you see it at drugstore or any Walmart or wherever, Target or Rite Aid or Walgreens. It's still worth buying this. This is still really, it's another green beauty from back in the, this is back in the 70s, and these other Anne Kleins are back in the 80s. I just can't believe it. Like, I thought I'd be super excited when I got it, and then I was like stunned. I was just like, I can't believe I'm smelling this again. I smelled it a couple of years ago. One of my co-workers had an old bottle, and that's where you're going to find these, like the old bottles that grandma has somewhere in the closet or something, or at thrift stores, or you're going to find it at estate sales. And because obviously it's no longer in production, which is a damn shame. Anyway, she let me smell her bottle, which it does get darker with age, obviously. And I did put some on. I sprayed some on, and it was her bottle. I did ask her, you know, in a roundabout way, oh, do you want to sell it? And she was like, no. I said, all right, well, okay, you know, because I want to infringe upon people who, you know, covet bottles of Anne Klein too, and they do. So for her to allow me to even smell it again was like major. So, oh, I just wanted to share that. I refer to this as a fragrance adventure just because relatively hard to find stuff like this, and it's really fun to find. And I was just dreaming a couple of weeks ago about fragrances I hadn't smelled in a really long time, and I was so excited to find them. And so I will review Anne Klein separately, and I will link the Jontue one. And if anybody knows the name of the channel I'm talking about, because he was great, and he hasn't made any videos in so long. And I want to say it was his, like I said, the name Prince is in the title, and I think he's from the Netherlands, and I watched every single one of his videos. I may have favorited some of them, so we'll figure this one out. And thank you for watching, and you know, I'll see you later. Bye bye.